Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-June 2018 general tarot update. It's Raina here. I'm using the Druidcraft tarot deck for this particular reading. A deck I've used, I think it was one other time. And I'm putting my cards in little piles because that's how I handle them the best way. And then I go like this, and I pick another card, and when I pick the Ten of Swords, I pick an additional card in order to, there we go, because there's certain cards that it's not so much, I mean, in part, sometimes it's kind of like more of a challenging card, but it doesn't seem like a card of resolution. And you'll see when I get to it. So there's certain cards I automatically pick an additional card for clarification purposes. So the Seven of Swords as the last half of the month has you really organizing your thoughts, I believe, Sagittarius. You may be trying to figure out how you're going to make something happen. And this could be about a move that you would like to make. It could be about a particular job, or if you want to have the job, whatever your job is right now, and you want to have a side business, you may be trying to think about what are going to be the logistics of this? Am I going to have to do this? And you're kind of crunching the numbers and figuring out what exactly this is going to involve. So a lot of organizing of your thoughts. You may be feeling compelled to keeping to yourself at this time and not necessarily being out in the world and doing a bunch of social things. It might be more of a personal time of reflection, but also of planning. We have here in the past position the Princess of Wands. So this can be like a new endeavor. Like I was just saying, a new business. Maybe you've gotten it off the ground, but you still need to know what direction you're going in with this. There may be things that you still have to do. And as we end the month, we are going to have both a retrograde of Mars, and this is going to initially hit your third house of communication. So that's also the internet. It's not also, that's primarily, I think we would talk about the internet, and then go into your second house of earned income. So you may be trying to retool something that you already started to make it more user-friendly, like a website, something like that. And it can be, we could be also talking about relationships. Perhaps there is an air sign individual that you are really trying to assess whether or not this person and you are meant to be. So the air signs are Aquarius. I'm going backwards this time. Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Gemini is your opposite sign. And so you may be trying to decide whether or not you want to be with this person, because the Princess of Wands is like the Page of Wands. That could be good news, but it could be a fire sign person who is also in the picture, and this person may be very energizing, I would say, for Sagittarian. You know, I'm a Sagittarius too, and we tend to be like really enthusiastic. And I have a lot of earth in me, so maybe that doesn't come out sometimes, where I'm, you know, not, maybe people don't see my fire, but I do have it. And for some of you, an air sign person sometimes may seem too like maddeningly rash, or what do you call it, analytical, and not passionate enough, you know, not dramatic enough. And so this person may come along and sweep you off your feet, and then you're like, wow, I wonder if I should be with this person versus the other person. And, you know, with the Seven of Swords, you may be even thinking, you know, I want to leave my current relationship, and how can I do this? Like what I said about crunching the numbers, and how is this all going to work out? And we have here the Nine of Pentacles as the spiritual message. So always knowing, Sag, that you are supported by the universe in whatever it is that you're doing. When I said that right now, I felt like myself calm down, because I was about to say, well, Sagittarians don't usually worry about that kind of thing, but that's not true. You know, all of us as human beings, we have a tendency, especially like if you've seen your income decrease for whatever reason, you may just, you know, assume that this is going to be permanent. And one of the things that I have found to be very effective when you're in one of those places in life is to say to yourself, is to look at your life and see where there has been an increase, okay? So for the people, for the Sagittarians, let's say there are a few, there's always going to be, you know, some people that are out of work, right, of any sign. So I'm not pretending to be a psychic by saying that, but let's say that you're in between jobs, Sag, and so you're really not bringing in any income, and you're living off savings or something like that. There are things you can say. You can say, I thank the universe that I have savings to draw upon. You can say, I thank the universe for a wealth of time, because I have a wealth of time, and now I can start a creative project that is actually going to be a side business for myself, and maybe someday it's going to be my main business. Okay, so it's not just like, oh, looking at the glass half full, you know, and just something very trite. It's really seeing very clearly the blessings that you have in your life. And I was thinking about this myself, because the thing that is the most challenging, I think, in that is to feel it. Because let's face it, when we're in a certain situation, we tend to get very comfortable with that situation, and it's very difficult to cultivate a sense of like gratitude on the emotional level when you are used to something, and it doesn't feel like, you know, it's easy to feel like a sense of gratitude when you have been without something, and then to experience having it. But after a while, we tend to get kind of complacent or used to whatever it is that what's happening, and then we don't feel that sense of having been blessed, and really we are. And another thing that you can do too is to look at a point in your past when things were much worse and see the growth. And so rather than, if you feel like somehow something has kind of been grinding to a halt, this too shall pass, but also you're still making advancements, even if you can't see it on the surface. We're ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is a planet of luck, so we always expect to have that luck come to us, but also expansion. So Sagittarians always want bigger and better. And I think that transferring that from the material to the spiritual is a good first start, because then it's not about the, the money and all that stuff. Nothing wrong with money, but what is its ultimate purpose? To sustain us, and to, I suppose you could, some people use money to help others and to create things that are long lasting, and sometimes it takes a lot of money to do that. I understand that. So there are different purposes for having money, but understanding that divine timing could be also an issue. And as I was saying all of this, I was just thinking that Jupiter is in retrograde, and maybe some of us are starting to go, whoa, what is happening? Where are my blessings, or where is the financial support? And feeling that kind of sense of things not flowing as much. Well, Jupiter will be going direct on June 10th. I was thinking I should have a Jupiter goes direct party for myself, because that may be a time afterwards, and it does take a little bit of time for Jupiter to start really moving forward after it stations direct. But we should be doing quite well towards the end of July. And yes, we're going to have Mars retrograding in our second house too. So there's going to be situations occurring with money in different aspects. We have Saturn in the second house right now of earned income. And these things can feel, depending on the individual, either a challenge to really get our financial house in order. Some people can just see it as more proof that they're being challenged in their life. I choose to see it in the most positive light, because just like I said before, I do believe the universe has our back. And even when things seem like they are not working, that they're slowing down, there has to be some divine purpose for that. And the Nine of Pentacles is about financial independence. So if that's something that is an issue for you, you feel like you want it to be, if it's been kind of a problem for you, know that there is a spiritual solution to it. This is the spiritual position. So there maybe the solution is on the spiritual level, is the way that you think about money, the way that you think about life, and how you can alter that to get into a better alignment with attaining financial independence. The challenge is represented by the Fool card. The Fool card is zero, what do they call that? 0 point? The womb of creation. Okay, so this is where everything begins. And we can say it's in the void, you know what I mean? And the 0 is indicative of the void and the pure potential of a situation. And very interesting, I had just referenced Saturn, and back in late December, right before, and actually during the transition from Saturn in our sign of Sagittarius into Capricorn, there was an alignment with the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. So we're talking about the latter degrees of Sag. And, going into that 0 degree of Capricorn, and how I was watching an astrology video that, noted that this is like that womb of creation. That's what the galactic center is. And so the very idea that Saturn was aligning with that, forming a conjunction, was really, it was a powerful thing for me to contemplate, because it reminded me of how, at least for myself, you know, sometimes just not even seeing how life can be created. Just when you get into that reactionary mode where you're just always basing your feelings on what is happening to you, and how disempowering that feels. And some of the people that I think are the most successful in life are the people who have really deep focus. And what they're able to do is they're able to take the circumstances in their life and they're not paralyzed by them. They're actually energized. Maybe it's almost like a challenge that they create for themselves, to challenge the universe to not show them all these beautiful blessings. And it happens for them, you know, because they don't let anything stop them, in other words. And I think for those of us who identify as empaths, intuitives, you know, indigos, crystal children, whatever you want to call yourself, or, you know, not label, but you see yourself as a sensitive person at the very least. When things happen that aren't going the way that you want them to, it can be easy to get discouraged, and the discouraging feeling can feel, at least to me, like it's almost like this weight that, or some kind of like, oh, I wish I could describe it, a barrier, a feeling energetically of heaviness, of the inability to do anything constructive. Like, you know, you just get into this, it's not just even being in a funk, it's just feeling like you can't do anything about the situation. And so it creates this inertia, and that feeds on itself. So basically, what I'm trying to say with all of this is that with the Fool card in the challenge position, look at something. Maybe you had hoped that you were going to be starting a new chapter in your life, and it feels like you're stuck, okay? It's not, the timing is not correct. And that's what I take from this card in the challenged position. I keep saying challenge, in the challenge, challenging position, challenge position, is that when the timing is right, you will sense it, because everything will come together. Now, yes, you do have to take a first step. If there's something that you need to stop doing, you do have to start making your way towards dropping that part of you. But there may be little baby steps that you need to take instead of some big dramatic thing. But perhaps there are other things that need to be taken care of first before your new cycle can begin. And speaking of new cycles, then we have in November that Jupiter goes into our sign Sagittarius. And this is beautiful for everyone, because Jupiter is in its own sign. And so anytime a planet is in its own sign, it's much more effective. Just like Saturn being in Capricorn. And that's really wonderful. So you're going to have these two, I don't even call them really outer planets, but they're not personal planets either. These two like longer range planets transiting through their own signs. And with Saturn, you get the structure. With Jupiter, you get the good luck, you get the flow, the optimism, and the expansion. You know, more opportunities, more contacts, more happiness, joy, jovial. You know, Jove is Jupiter. And yeah, so maybe that's kind of that everything is leading up to this point. We have Jupiter in the 12th house, and it's expanding our sense of the past lives. And it can bring luck to that. We may get some kind of blessing from good karma from another lifetime, okay? That could come into the picture in some way with Jupiter in the 12th house. So Jupiter is not bad in the 12th house, but it's retrograding there. So it's not moving forward, and it's going over old ground. So sometimes when planets retrograde, we always think of things going haywire, we can't do new things and stuff like that. But there's also like the past kind of coming up for examination. And I think sometimes that can feel kind of intense. So just a little encouragement for those of you who have felt like things were coming to a standstill. What is coming in is the King of Wands. What a wonderful, confident, fiery, take charge kind of an energy. You know, to counter any inertia, to make you feel like you have the ability to empower yourself, Sagittarius. I love to see that. I'm so happy that that is coming in. And timing-wise, maybe this is talking about a month from now when the sun goes into Leo. We are going to be having a solar eclipse in Leo, just like we did last summer, last August. I'm skipping ahead to August 11th when this, you know, new moon in the form of a solar eclipse happens in Leo, which is a fellow fire sign, and a very nice energy for us based on being a trine and having to do with, for us, it's affecting the 9th house, which is the house that we rule. Okay, so foreign travel, all that stuff, higher learning and spiritual matters. That's getting ahead of ourselves. I think that even in July, when the sun goes into Leo, the King of Wands could be saying this is when that Fool energy gets uprighted, when everything starts to flow better. Okay? As we, you know, end the month of June, we're going into Cancerian energy, and it's not the most harmonious for Sag from the standpoint of just the angle. It's a, you know, it's an inconjunction, okay, 150 degrees. So there's a very kind of a mismatch in terms of what Cancer represents and what we represent. But there again, there's always learning, okay? There's always growth with any kind of inharmony, because we really, you know, have it facing us what we don't want, what we do want, okay? And but the King of Wands can also be a person. I had kind of wondered about that, if there was a fire sign person who is coming into your life, and it feels like a really hopeful kind of a vibe between the two of you. Again, with the Fool card, maybe you've been wanting to start a relationship with this person, but you can't, and maybe there are extenuating circumstances for that, but eventually you will. So the outcome, one of the cards I got was the Ten of Swords, and of course this is this is maybe you can see, now that you can see the card closer, why I didn't want to end with this reading. This is a card that is associated with a sense of betrayal and a feeling of possibly being let down by somebody. But this is what I want to focus on in a positive way. I feel like if you have had some kind of a problematic relationship with an air sign, and this may be even a marriage partner, the equivalent of a marriage partner, Gemini, your opposite sign, Aquarius, Libra, this is going to be that final the coup de grace, so to speak, the final blow. And actually, that's a good thing, because number 10 is the end of a cycle. So it means that the worst is over. It means that you are on the road to healing. Now, sometimes when we get these readings where there's like really good energy, the Page of Wands, the King of Wands, even in the Nine of Pentacles, but even the Fool card being in a challenged position, to me it's like waiting on deck, waiting for that new cycle and kind of like anticipating that, but it's not quite there yet. What I feel sometimes, I've got to change my battery pack, is that what I feel is that even with some of those positive things, we get like these cards that seem like they contradict everything that we've just done, but note that this is a 10. And so in life, there can be a lot of good things happening in your life, and then you have one area that isn't so good. And I have noted this, or noticed this, and it's almost like we say to ourselves, why is this happening? And I think it's because we have different things going on. I mean, we have some areas that are making major advancement and some that are, you know, needing improvement. Sometimes your career is going gangbusters, but it takes a toll on your relationship. And we're always striving for balance. And with the Ten of Swords, anything that maybe a former partner or a partner that you're breaking up from, that they do that really kind of sends home a message, oh my gosh, then it's a blessing, because you know that you made the right decision. You know that you know what I mean? You might have been kind of contemplating all of this. With the Seven of Swords, you might have been like, oh gee, should I do this or should I not do this? And then you realize, yeah, that was the right thing. And then I picked an additional card just to kind of bring home this point. The Prince of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, another message. Okay. Another, I'm sorry, this is a message. The Page of Wands is a message, but the Prince of Pentacles is the Knight of Pentacles. So what this could be talking about, because I had spoken of some kind of job offer, or perhaps thinking about a side job. That's what I'm really referring to. The King of Wands over here is more independent. You know, you're the, if this is something to do with you, you are in control. You know, the King is in control. So it might be something that you're starting for yourself. And then the Prince of Pentacles is really a card of a lot of application of your energy into generating income. Okay, so it could simply mean that you are working very hard, diligently at your job, because you have these plans in the works, and part of the plan is for you to work a certain amount of time in order to begin to, you know, buy time, so to speak, for your baby, what you want to birth into the world, some creative project that may be also a business and things like that. So there's a lot of strategizing here, I feel like, for you in the last half of June, Sagittarius. I didn't expect to go this long, but if you've stuck with me this far, I wish you all the best. And if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Take care. Bye.